emisión.net.
Hello there and welcome to Letter from England, broadcasting for AC Press and the Spanish Evangelical Alliance. The morning after pill leads to a moral hangover. The latest government scheme, which threatens to corrupt the nation's morals even further, is the proposal to make the morning after pill easily available at chemists, without prescription, to girls from as young as 16. The stated purpose of the plan is to offer an emergency method of contraception. Well, not surprisingly, the proposal has met with a hail of criticism, and among those who are critical is Manuel Suarez, a doctor and vice chairman of the Evangelical Alliance. He says we're all concerned that contraceptive methods are not being used properly, and that the abortion rate continues to rise, especially among teenagers. He says that everyone has agreed on the need to reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies, but calls abortion a failure. He says there are enough contraceptive methods available, but none of them obviates the need for responsible sexual behaviour. So what exactly is the reason for this pill, he asks? Well, first of all, he appeals to science, arguing that we cannot hold on to medieval ideas about when life invades the embryo, as we now know that life begins in the initial cell at conception. He says preventing conception is not the same as preventing implantation. The morning after pill can prevent the development of human life, rather than merely the initiation of this process. A more pragmatic argument is that quite simply the pill doesn't actually do what the government hopes it will. That is, reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies. They continue to rise. So clearly the use of the pill is closely linked to the sexual habits of the person who takes it. The indications in Spain are that youngsters are becoming sexually active at an ever younger age. What is the government's response? Well, to bombard them with even more information about sex, and that leads to, yes, you guessed it, more sex. Now, Suarez lays some of the blame at the parental door, arguing that many have failed to teach their children good moral values, but he also recognises that the government should be asking itself why its campaigns do not even seem to persuade youngsters to engage in what is euphemistically called safe sex. The increase in the number of abortions, and in cases of sexually transmitted diseases, suggests that youngsters treat sex lightly and with little regard for personal responsibility. And all the signs are that this pill will just make things worse. Doctors say it leads youngsters to being more likely to have unprotected sex, thinking that they have this backup. Well, it doesn't matter if I do get pregnant, they say, well, I can always take the pill the next morning. And many women are now using it as a normal procedure rather than an emergency one. Suarez reminds people that Australia introduced this very same measure, only to withdraw it after just 6 months, when it became apparent that girls as young as 13 were using it as their normal method of contraception. While a study in Belgium found a higher incidence of sexually transmitted diseases among women who use the morning after pill, though of course, as Suarez pointed out, this has to do with their general pattern of sexual behaviour as well. Those who most use it, most need it. Well, Suarez observes that an uncontrolled use of this pill by younger teenagers without their parents' knowledge could lead to greater sexual abuse, giving girls a false sense of security, and reducing the sense of risk in abusers. Even some of the pill's staunchest defenders, he says, have warned that this can happen. Well, finally, he notes that the initiative was launched not by the Health Minister, but by the Equality Minister, which says much about the philosophy behind it. Also, says Suarez, if chemists are not allowed to object to stocking the pill, their democratic rights are being infringed, and another step towards totalitarianism is taken. Well, thank you for listening to Letter from England, broadcasting each week at emission.net.
emisión.net